Will Anderson Jr. is scared of the dark because his 5 older sisters used to lock him in a closet and laugh at him while he cried to be let out. To this day, he has to sleep with a nightlight and the TV on, Family Guy or The Simpsons soothing him to sleep. But those 5 sisters made him the man he is today, and he wouldn't have it any other way.
I'm scared of the dark.
He's one of the baddest men in the NFL. But off the field, Will Anderson Jr., he's just like us. And when it's time for bed, he's got a routine.
I'm scared of the dark. Huh? So after my film, I turn my thing on, I hit my nightlight. Okay. And I turn the brightness down on my TV, and I turn on Hulu, and I turn on like The Simpsons or Family Guy. I gotta have a little bit of noise. So that's kind of really what I do, because yeah, I gotta have some noise, and I gotta have a little bit of light in my room. Can't do pitch dark.
Dr. Tiazon Johnson defines pitbulling: the act of a black female using a black male like an attack dog, usually on another black male, not primarily out of fear or danger, but as a means of control, discipline, or retaliation, weaponizing chivalry while keeping him, quote-unquote, on a leash.
Anderson, the outside linebacker for Alabama, is the best player in the country in the eyes of many. He has 86 tackles. He has 30.5 tackles for loss. He has 14.5 sacks. The numbers don't lie. But the way he became such a menace on the field might surprise you. Just look at his family.
Alabama linebacker Will Anderson is among the fiercest, most dominant players in college football. A rare combination of speed, agility, ferocity, and leadership.
Sports Illustrated, December 29, 2021. The secret to Will Anderson Jr.'s quick rise at Alabama: family and anger. The sophomore linebacker is just like you and me, except while playing football. And no one knows his 2 sides better than his 5 older sisters.
To understand where those traits were planted and nourished, all you must do is meet his sisters. All 5 of them.
And then Will, the baby. The monster. The baby. Our only brother.
We used to have a 3-bedroom house. It didn't matter nowhere I went, it was girls everywhere.
We had like these little weightlifting machines and like little weights, and I had like dropped a dumbbell on his toe and he had to get rushed to the hospital. I think it was like fractured or something like that, and he held it over my head like forever, like, Tony, you remember when you broke my toe?
I feel like she purposely took that weight and dropped it on my toe, but she said it was an accident.
No wonder you're so mean on the football field, dude. You got a lot of pent-up aggression.
Will Anderson's from a giant family, 7 paternal uncles and 5 older sisters, and they all at one time or another made baby Will the target of pranks. They once shoved him in a dryer. They spent 1 year parading him around the backyard in a giraffe costume. They made him eat mayonnaise and jelly sandwiches. One sister even accidentally dropped a dumbbell on 4-year-old Will's toe, fracturing it. Years later, this remains a contentious matter among the family, as you just heard. Did she do it on purpose or not?
Anderson's production this season is historic.
There are NFL right tackles that cannot block Will Anderson one-on-one.
But rest assured, his support system offers him no choice but to remain humble.
If you look at Twitter or something, it was like, oh, Will, you had a great game. And then, but to hear the girls talk about it, baby, you came out flat. You was looking like you didn't know what you was doing.
You moved kind of slow out there. They made my job very easy.
We don't take it easy on him. Like, we want him to be just as good as he wants to be for his right.
His style of play, angry, comes from his father, Will Anderson Sr., a.k.a. Big Will, who once told his son, no, you can't hit your sisters, but you can hit the boys on the football field. No one fires up Will like his dad. Big Will was notorious for screaming critiques of his son across the football field during high school games just to spark aggression.
Tough love provided the roots from which Anderson sprouted toward what seems to be a limitless sky.
I'm scared of the dark.
Go Long writes in their 2024 article, All Game Long, Will Anderson Jr., the Terminator is the Houston Texans foundation. Scouts identified him early as a grown-ass man. Yet this also happens to be a grown man who's deathly afraid of the dark. Seriously, if the room is pitch black, he feels trapped. Freaks. To this day, Anderson sleeps with the TV on. 5 older sisters are to thank. They scared me, he admits. I'm still traumatized.
I feel like I had one of those childhoods where I experienced so much fun and love in a household that you need as a child. My sisters did a good job of wiring me differently to be able to come here and compete with all these guys.
He grew up and kind of got that firmness he would always say from his sisters. It's super funny to me to think like Like, really? Like, your sisters who got you tough, got you firm?
They'd shove Anderson into a closet and lean against the door so he cannot escape. From inside, little Will would ball up his fist, bang against the door, and scream, "Let me out, let me out." Of course, the closet wasn't nearly as haunting as the basement. When they really wanted to scare the bejesus out of Will, the sisters would push him downstairs and lock the door. Dusty and dark and extremely creepy, the basement became a personal dungeon. He hated their bullying back then. This is only a sampling.
You never realize how much of an impact you have on somebody. And like, for us to have that much of an impact when he shares those moments, it's like, dang, like, you pay attention, he really like, you know.
All of them did a great job, and I just watched the way they worked and how they went about things, and I kind of just took different pieces. They all helped me become the man I am now.
The Atlantic writes, Will Anderson's 5 older sisters helped him by pushing him to be competitive through constant challenges, mentoring him in his mindset and work ethic, and providing support that shaped him into the athlete that he is today. They instilled a strong sense of competition, which was fueled by their critical feedback during games and by their own dedication to their own sports. But the question remains, if everything was okay and it was all just jokes and pranks, why did this happen?
Tell me exactly, Will, what your childhood home was like and what you were like as a kid.
Yes, I originally grew up in Riverdale, Georgia. Me and my 5 older sisters. I was smaller than everybody, and I was the only boy, and so they used to pick on me a lot.
How do you think having these 5 older sisters, you think Will would have been the same person he is now had he not had those 5?
No.
What was he like as a baby?
Sweet.
He was real sweet.
He's a real sweet little boy, and he did whatever we told him.
He loved to smile.
Yeah, he really did smile a lot. He was the cutest little thing.
It sounds like this household was one that was based on love and happiness, but also some pranks were played as well.
So many pranks were played.
They forced me to watch scary movies. They'd close all the doors and lock them in, like beat me up or whatever like that. And they'd do pranks on me. And so then this is when I got a little older and I started going to my grandmother's house.
He transferred elementary schools and rode the bus from her house. Yes.
Why?
He wanted to live with my grandma. He thought it was his mom.
Yeah.
For the longest.
Tell us about your grandmother.
Yeah, so that's my lady right there. That's my heart. I love her so much. We spent so much time together. I'll just look forward to seeing her, after practice or when I got home, and she came to all my football games. She didn't miss one.
Every year we enjoy the draft time stories of guys who overcame the odds, persevered, and worked hard in order to become one of the best of the best on draft day, and to enjoy their celebration, the culmination of all the difficulties that they went through. We can see that story with Will Anderson. And when you see the story as read by the draft outlets and the sports agencies, it seems like he was a young boy who grew up in a family of love, and he had tough love from his sisters that made him the guy that he is today. But what if he wasn't the high caliber, excelling football player that he is, and he was just a young boy that grew up in a family that was very difficult for him, and he didn't have a place to channel his anger? Instead of being the incredibly awesome player that he is and using that pent-up anger that is clear is there from his childhood, he would have to release it somewhere else. And so the question for me is, how is this a success story when he is not the NBA player, not the NFL player, not the guy that excels in sports, but instead he's the misunderstood youth, the boy who has to go live with his grandmother in order to find some peace? You could see at the end it was jokes. Many of the sisters, all of them were laughing at the fact that he wanted to go live with his grandmother. But the question is, why? And this gets back to Dr. Tiasan Johnson. Generally speaking, when Dr. Tiasan Johnson uses the term pitbullying, he's speaking of a situation where a woman in an excited, emotional state directs or implores a man that cares about her to essentially put his life on the line to, quote unquote, defend her honor, if you will, a form of chivalry, if you will. But this is a different kind of pitbullying we're seeing with Will Anderson. This is a young boy who could not take out his frustrations back on his older sisters that were pranking him, to the point where he wanted to go live with his grandmother, and he called his grandmother his mother. These holes in this story essentially point to a family that were picking on a boy to the point where he would be so angry and aggressive that it would make him go on the football field and release that anger in a way that obviously has made him a millionaire. But what happens to the young boy who's in this situation where instead of being a basketball or football player, which everyone is praising, he's someone who's on the streets or someone who is not getting along with his teacher? Instead of being celebrated on Saturdays or Sundays while people are in the stands wearing his jersey, or the guy that's playing the basketball game and you're wearing his shoes, instead he's the guy that you're driving by and having preconceived notions of how they're what's wrong with America. And this is a gentleman, a young boy in a full two-parent family. So what of the boys that are growing up even in these kinds of families without their father and no one to speak to, getting bullied by older siblings, in this case sisters, and have no other outlet that isn't sports? It's the classroom. It's going outside on the corner. It's the people in their lives that they're dealing with. And instead of being seen as, oh, he's a cute young man that knows how to release his aggression in the right way that we can celebrate on Saturdays and Sundays, he's a problem to society. Does anyone care about the Will Anderson that didn't make it to the NFL? Because this story is a cautionary tale. Not that Will Anderson didn't make it to the NFL and become a great athlete, but the fact that he made it under these circumstances is a miracle. And the miracle is something that we don't see every day. More often, what we're seeing is a celebration of black men being bullied. I wonder why that is. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.